Hello everyone, this is your instructor Dr. Sylvia Su. The purpose of this video is to briefly do a recap of Module 1, which is Evidence-Based Education and the Science of Learning. And secondly, to go over our Evidence-Based Plan project, which will be due by the end of the semester. So far, we have covered Chapter 1. And this week we will be covering Chapter 4, which is Pervasive Misunderstandings about Learning. We've had a really great discussion throughout the course on communication breakdown between science and practice, why it's important to consider the science aspect of in education and not just rely solely on our intuition. We've looked at different types of evidence in education, such as qualitative and quantitative evidence. And last week we had a great discussion on intuition and the enemy of teaching and learning. And we previously had some discussion on learning styles and what to believe, what not to believe, myths, and so on and so forth. Now, for Chapter 4, just as we've been doing in the previous chapters, go ahead and make sure that you post your initial post to the discussion board by Thursday. Before that, I want you to read the chapter and any additional materials that is required for that particular chapter. And then again, don't wait till the end of Thursday to do that. I will recommend you post early on so people will have the opportunity to actually give you feedback or react to your post. Okay? And once you've done with that, then we have a very brief, short quiz for this particular chapter. So that's what we're doing this week, and a recap of where we are so far. Now, last week I suggested you respond to the Muddiest Point discussion board about what's going well so far in the class and what can be improved upon. Now, one of the suggestions in that discussion board was that you would love to see the evidence-based project. And thank you again, Casey, for doing that. I actually had planned on releasing that early on before the semester ends. So today we will be talking briefly about that evidence-based plan, and I will go ahead and release the project today, so you will be able to view it. It's going to be called the Evidence-Based Plan project. It is located in the modules on the left menu. Now, this is a group project, so I will also open up your group availability. You can only see members of your group. If you have any questions regarding this, or if you cannot see who your group members are, let me know and I can assist you with that. Okay? We will, this group project is based on the Iris Star Legacy module. Now, Iris Star, or the Iris Center, is a national center dedicated to improving education outcomes for all children, especially those with disabilities, birth through age 21, and through the use of effective evidence-based practices and interventions. So I thought this was a really great example of how evidence-based practice is applied in education. So through this Legacy Star module, they will give you some great information on what the different ways you can identify and select either an evidence-based practice or program. And then at the end, you will have an assessment. The assessment is what we will complete as a group. First thing I want you to do is to watch the Legacy Star, Iris Star Legacy module, which basically will tell you, it demonstrates the navigation features and components of the Iris Star Legacy Star modules, including a challenge, initial thoughts, perspectives and resources, a wrap-up, which is basically a summary, and then the assessment, which is what we will complete as a group. Additionally, you'll learn about other key features of the module. estimated time is 4 minutes and 24 seconds. Now, after you watch that video to just show you how the module works, I want you now to, you can probably do that individually. Then in your groups, you actually complete the evidence-based module. So you go back into the module and you actually go through and begin the module. So it's going to have a video, and then you can navigate and go next. It will give you the initial thoughts, and then you need to go through and read. It kind of has objectives and more information. Why educators use evidence-based plan, what is an evidence-based plan, considerations when identifying, and so on and so forth. So it takes you through exactly what evidence-based plan is. Go ahead and listen to all of these. It will give you some resources and different examples of evidence-based programs that are out there. So read the resources very cleanly and in between the lines, because at the end, where you have the assessment, you will have to answer these questions and then do a presentation of what you will need to complete. So you will define an evidence-based plan in your own words as your group, what it is for you, a detailed definition, list 3 benefits of implementing an evidence-based plan, these 3 areas that an educational professional needs to think about when selecting an evidence-based program. And finally, you will discuss, we're talking about discussing some considerations for each, and then you briefly describe the process you can use if you cannot find an evidence-based plan that matches your students and your resources. That's after you've listed those areas that an educational professional needs to think about when selecting. So you would do that, and then finally, this is the most important part. Imagine that you are a kindergarten teacher. One of your students has behavior issues. A colleague has recommended the Incredible Years program. That's one of the programs that's discussed in this module. And another has recommended the First Steps to Success. Using more than one source. Again, when I talk about more than one source, you have to be very explicit and use citations for that source to complete the evidence-based plan comparison worksheet. So there is a worksheet right here. You have to complete it. For example, it includes information such as source of information, the practice program description. By source of information, if it's a website, you link it. If it's a particular program, exactly where you found it, what page number, or you cite the author. The program, the description of the program, the student population, setting, just whatever resources that you have to include. So go ahead and you fill this up. So you will select like 3 programs, and then in this case, we gave you 2 programs, and from the 2 programs, you can now decide which one you will use as your intervention for the student. So based on the information on your worksheet, you then choose a program you will wish to use, and you need to justify your response. So this is group task. You can go ahead and start working in your groups on this, or you can decide to break it down and you let your group members know where who's going to be doing what or whatever strategy. However, at the end, I will expect you to submit just 1 submission per group. By that I mean I'm going to see just 1 presentation submitted in 1 EBP comparison worksheet. So not, I think there are about 5 or so people in a group. So I will expect just 1 submission from each group. Now, I've included a rubric for this particular project just so that you know exactly how the points are distributed based on your introduction, the evidence that you provide, the methodology used, the resources that you cited, the way you did your conclusion. Note that the resources are to 3-point because it's the big part of the evidence. And finally, how well you will do a presentation. In the end, we can do this over Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, and we will set that up. This is going to be completely online, and we will set up a time for that will match everybody's schedule. Okay, again, if you have any questions, always ask me the question in the course discussion board or email me. This is the information you need to know to complete your evidence-based practice or plan project, and I am going to go ahead and release this right now. Okay, you have a wonderful day.